Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video, we're going to check out an article that Games Workshop have just posted because they're talking about Warhammer the Old World, which is something I am super excited to read about. More importantly, this article is about the Tomb Kings. That's right, it is about Nekahara, it is about Cetra, so we're going to take a look through it, we're going to break down, we're going to have a look what they're saying. This pretty much guarantees that we are going to get Tomb Kings in the Old World. We've heard them definitely talk about like wanting to make rules and bring Cathay into it. We've seen Kislev, obviously, the Empire, Wood Elves, Bretonnia, all of that, you know, and Beastmen and Orcs and Chaos, Dwarves. This is really interesting. So, after the excitement of the previous Old World development diary, it's fair to say that fans of the Old World have been champing at the bit for more. What have you got for us this time? In our previous article, we looked at the very heart of the Old World, the Empire of Man. What we found was a realm both familiar to fans of Warhammer, but also subtly different. Not the unified nation we might remember from Warhammer Fantasy Battle. This is true. If you remember from the last article, we're sort of at that time where the Empire is split before the Great War against Chaos, not of course Archaon's horde, but one of the many warlords that came before him. So we're in sort of a different timeline, and this time we're going to take a look at something that will be extremely familiar to longtime fans, the Land of the Dead, and the tyrannical rule of Cetra, the Imperishable, the Undying King of Khemri. The Supreme Monarch of Nekahara and the other Tomb Kings are going to be major players in the stories that we will tell in Warhammer the Old World, and it has been wonderful to come back to them after all these years. They're not technically denizens of the Old World, but their invasions play a key part in the narrative at this time during the history of the setting. So, yeah, for me, this sort of talks about two things. It talks about we are going to focus on events happening in the Old World. It seems they've obviously picked a timeline and a spot where lots of different factions are going to be influencing that area of the Old World. We've obviously seen in like the maps and stuff like that. We also saw like the High Elf ships, where there's High Elves, there's normally Dark Elves. The Wood Elves are obviously already in the Old World. Chaos isn't far away. Ogres are just over the mountains, as are Chaos Dwarves. And, you know, there is massive trade routes, the Great Spice Road between things like Cathay and the Empire. But this is pretty cool. Like, I like the idea of focusing on a part of the world. We can always expand and look at these places properly later down the line. But this is definitely, you know, something interesting. And we got like a cool little map here. You can see Zandri right there, which is awesome. One of the places I remember. Now, Cetra has been a prominent character in Warhammer for a long time, but what interest does he have in the lands of the living and the people of the Old World? In life, Cetra expanded the borders of Nekahara until his realm stretched far beyond the horizon eastward and westwards. His legions marched across deserts and mountains until they reached the distant coasts, and the north of his dominion included the lands now known as the Empire and Bretonnia. In the years that followed his death, lesser monarchs lacked the will and ambition to maintain such a massive kingdom, and over the centuries it shrank to a shadow of its former glory, back to, effectively, Khemri. So this is like really interesting because it does sort of tell us, you know, some interesting parts that weren't fully explored that Cetra did control, you know, the Empire and Bretonnia and all of this, which is really cool. Obviously the city of Khemri there, we've got Newman, and Zandri we can see down here in a little bit more. Now, when Cetra awoke from death following the great necromancer's diabolical ritual, aka Nagash, his wrath was unmatched. Not only had the Lich Priest failed to return him to an eternally youthful body, but his dynasty had crumbled to an insignificance in his absence. Since that day, Cetra has been plotting the reconquest of the lands that were once his and the subjugation of the usurper kings, queens and emperors who dare rule in his stead. No doubt we will see these plans of conquest set into motion when the time is right. So, can you give us any clues, Ask Warhammer community, about how the Tomb King's army will wage war upon the denizens of the Old World? We've taken a great deal of care to make the undead work. It was vital that rules presented balanced game mechanics while evoking the frightening image of rank upon rank of skeleton warriors marching in unison as chariots sped towards the enemy, flanked by monstrous constructs animated by ancient magic of the mortuary cults. You will be able to wield the powers of the Lich Priest once more, commanding skeletal hordes to arise from their tombs and march upon the lands of the living. And here we see, you know, one of the Necropolis Stalkers, I want to say. No, that's the new name. I forget the name of these ones. It's not Necropolis Knights. It's the other one. With Cetra's attention, though, seemingly fixed upon foreign affairs, will we get much chance to explore the Land of the Dead itself? Our main focus is going to be the role that Cetra and the Tomb Kings of Khemri played in the Old World. But there's nothing stopping us returning to Nekahara in the future. There are plenty of instances of Tomb Kings waging war on one another, while Cetra's attention was elsewhere, and that's before we even get started on raiders and invaders from far-off lands. Many have scoured the blistering deserts of Nekahara in search of ancient treasures, some hoping to stumble upon wealth beyond imagination, while others sought long-forgotten secrets or legendary artifacts worth far more than gold. So, yeah, this certainly says that we're not going to be focusing on the world that was on Malice as a whole. We are definitely going to be focusing on that old world and how will these races sort of interact with that. But it is nice to see that we are going to look to bring in things like Tomb Kings, etc., and all of that into the old world and how they're sort of affecting those realms. This could definitely be, some fights in the Borderlands, in the Border Princes, in Astilio, Tilia, and indeed in, Britonia and all of that sort of area. I'm really interested to see where we go with Old World. I'm super, super excited for Old World. I like that we're getting a Tomb Kings article. Just tell me some about the Wood Elves, please, because that's what I really want to know. But what do you think? Are you excited for the Old World? Excited for the Tomb Kings to come back? Let us know what your thoughts are, what you're wanting to see in the game, what you're wanting to get from the game down in the comments below. And so that's the end of the video. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And if you did enjoy the video and you want to say something, leave us a comment down below and let us know what you thought. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our great little community here at Cinderful Gaming, we have a Discord server linked down in the video's description. Also down there in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel if you'd like to do so. You can either grab yourself some merch via our Teespring or Ko-fi stores, which are linked down there, or our Patreon and YouTube members where you can help support the channel, get yourself a shout out, and indeed if you're a YouTube member as well, get yourself some cool emotes to use in our live discussions or indeed on your comments on YouTube. As a special thank you to all our Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give you all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lowe, Outer Shot First, Andrew Bowen, The Rising 8, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, Nicholas Conomos, Colorblind Magic, and Daniel Etherington. And to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lockloric, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariane Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, John Castle, Davis Weir, James South, James Tillman, and Dylan Areno. And lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see here for the channel, and to everyone who helps run our Discord server, all our mods, you're fantastic, and everyone who makes it a great place in there as well, and indeed to everyone who helps come and do the battle reports, and to all our sponsors on the channel as well. Thank you all once again for watching, everyone. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now.